to see you, and wherever you're watching from, thank you for showing up. It actually indicates your interest to build something better, bigger for your 2025. And I want to appreciate Coach Joshua and the team, the SMS team, for this opportunity to share some value with a larger audience. This morning, we're going to go right away into what we have to discuss. But before we go there, I just want to make an observation. I don't know if I'm the only one. I think we just celebrated Christmas, and there's a lot of oppression for the singles. Every married couple had to extend their wishes with um, it is not me and mine to you and yours. Please, if you're out there and you don't have yours or you don't have mine, please don't worry. There's room for you to celebrate too. And don't mind all the pajamas, colorful pajamas out there. It's not trying to intimidate you. We are not relationship shaming you, rather. Don't worry, you will get there. You will come off heater. That's on a lighter note. But that being said, I'd love us to have a conversation this morning about maximizing emotional intelligence and mindset remodeling for peak growth and success. And just like I would love to do is take every word step by step and have a breakdown. Sometimes when this sentence is made with all of these grammars, as I'll choose to call them, it sounds like something we can't relate to, but it's absolutely very relatable. So I'm going to break it down. And I want to believe everybody can hear me. So maybe I could get an indication that, yes, you can hear me. All right. So, yeah, Mr. Samuel, I can see your message. There is a lot of oppression, but don't worry. The God that did it for them will do it for you. Moving on, I would start by explaining what maximizing means. I'll choose to express maximizing as making the most. Making the most, right? So when you see the word maximizing, we're just talking about how you make the most use, how you make the most result, how you make the most value or the most benefit or profit from something. And then when we're talking about emotional intelligence, I just want you to know that emotional intelligence simply just refers to how you understand your own emotions and how you understand other people's emotion and how you're able to intertwine these two to make the most of your relationship with yourself and with other people in larger groups, in smaller groups, when you are alone, and much more. And I'd like to give us some very popular meanings of emotional intelligence that it's out there that would help us to have a good understanding of what emotional intelligence really entails, really entails. And first, I want to say that emotional intelligence is being good at understanding feelings, being good at understanding feelings. So whenever you hear emotional intelligence, we're just simply talking about how good, how great understanding feelings. And remember, feelings making reference to your own feelings and that of others. It also the ability to manage and influence your own feeling and that of others. How can you manage your feelings? How can you influence your own feelings? So in practical terms, sometimes something happens around you, maybe at home, at work, and there is an expectation. There's what we call impulse feelings. There is something that is supposed to happen to you by impulse, right? Now, emotional intelligence is trying to say that you are able to interpret what kind of emotion this is at the time, anger, sadness, hurt, or whatever, and you're able to influence it either to not express it as what it is, either to see things differently, either to react differently or respond differently. And so this is what emotional intelligence entails in a very brief summary. And I also want to talk about emotional intelligence as embracing vulnerability. Embracing vulnerability. What does that mean? What does that entail? Emotional intelligence entails that you're able to embrace that you might not be great at something, you might not be the best at this, you might not be right at this point, and it's totally okay for you to be flawed one place or the other, and you accept it, and you're not going to blame others for those reactions. I'll give you a practical example. Probably you don't have a very great way of correcting people in public or in a team or at workplace or friends or family, and you're trying to lay out the correction, and there is a form of resistance from the person you're trying to correct, which raises an emotion of anger in you, right? And it is emotional intelligence for you to understand that and accept that, oh, you might not have communicated in the best way. And you also response or the reaction you got, and then you're able to influence it differently. You're able to change your communication pattern. You're able to influence the responses you're going to get from these individuals. That is a very practical way to look at vulnerability, right? Now, moving on, I'd like us to talk about mindset remodeling. Remember, we are merging emotional intelligence and mindset remodeling. And what is mindset remodeling? Mindset remodeling simply means reprogramming how you see things. Now, one of the things you need to put down in your notes is that your mind is the eyes through which you see life. Your mind is the eyes through which you see life, and the quality of your mind, the quality of information in your mind actually determines how you see life, how you see perspectives, and how you interpret perspectives, how you use or utilize perspectives. Now, we're talking about remodeling mindset. We're talking about your ability to think something differently. Oh, I used to think this is the appropriate or most appropriate way to do this, and courtesy of exposure and information, you're able to see that, oh, this is not the most appropriate way, there are better ways, and then you imbibe them. That is mindset remodeling. That is you shifting from a spot in your mind to another spot. And anytime we're talking about mindset remodeling, we're just talking about you changing your mind from a fixed point to a growth point. You know, I know this is a popular thing we hear everywhere. You have to unlearn, relearn for you to be able to grow. Now, when you're talking about unlearning and relearning, we're just talking about mindset remodeling. You used to know that this thing is done this way. I'll give you a practical example. If you look at yourself 5 years back and there are no perspectives or opinions that have changed over time, it's an indicator of not so much growth being present. Because one of the metrics for measuring growth is that there is a consistent change of perspective, right? There is a consistent reprogramming of your mind. I tell somebody that, I tell my friends rather, that sometimes 5 years ago, what you wanted is not exactly the same things you want now, at least not even in the same proportion or degree. What has happened? Mindset remodeling. And now I want to, you may not have been told this thing anywhere, but I'm going to tell you today. Mindset remodeling happens with or without your consent. Take it from me. With or without your consent, it's either you're intentional about your mindset remodeling or you're not. But the systems of the world, the systems of the internet, the systems of society would keep remodeling your mindset. And if you don't have, and that is why emotional intelligence is very powerful. If you don't have emotional intelligence, everything will remodel your mindset to how they want you to see things, how they want you to believe things, and how they want you to use things, right? It's just like if you consume a lot of content on social media, you find out that a lot of content has impacted your mindset, even some that you didn't actively sit down and process and say, oh, I'm going to do this differently, I'm going to handle this differently. No, but merely being on the social media space, just remodel the mindset for you. So if there's something you're going to take home this morning, is that you're going to have to apply some intentionality, not just because you are going to or you are trying to remodel your mind, but to also resist the mindset remodeling that is happening without your consent that may not be the best for you, right? So when we're talking about mindset remodeling, I also want you to see it from a perspective of how you view skills, how you view actions and behaviors. I'll give an example. Let's talk about the generational growth that has happened in the world over time. There was a time we had the baby boomers generation. There was a time, in fact, the ones we can relate so much with is the millennials. Now, I'll give you something about the millennials. The millennials believe so much in hard work. The millennials always thought that you need to go to school, get a degree, get a job, maybe federal government job, or work with an institution and have a career going on. And over time, we have moved from that generation to the Gen Z generation, and we are almost leaving the Gen Z generation. Now, what's happening in the Gen Z generation? The term side hustle became like a powerful tool, right? It became a very powerful tool. Side hustle is a thing. Education, in fact, you would never hear school is a scam during the years of millennials. You would never hear such statements. But in the Gen Z world, you hear a lot of school is scam. In fact, sometimes, if you're a millennial, sometimes I tell myself that, is it that I'm sort of behind? Because I tend to still value education so much, and I see people who may not have so much value for education, but who might have so much value for skill sets, technical skills, side hustle, and all that, making certain kind of progress that sometimes can be challenging to you, right? And what am I trying to say? Even the systems of the world, the generational growth and changes remodels the mind, with or without your consent. So this morning, you're going to note this in your diary, that you're going to be intentional about what you think, how you think them, how you see them, and how you want to live, act, and do things, right? Now, also, when you talk about mindset remodeling, we're talking about um, what we call replacing stereotypes. Stereotypes, some it's just like, let's talk about relationships and marriages. There's a lot of stereotypes in relationships and marriages coming from our parents, our cultures, and all that. But over time, things have changed. There are cultures where women shouldn't go to school, women shouldn't earn a lot, women shouldn't pursue an active career, and all of that, those stereotypes. Women should be homemakers, women should be homekeepers, women should be in the kitchen, arranging the house, catering for the kids, right? The men should be out there making money, working, doing business and stuff. But over time, those stereotypes have been replaced. Now you even hear things like 50-50. I don't know how ideal that is, but you hear things like 50-50, 70-30, 70-20. In fact, it's funny. I saw a video. Two persons went on a date. This is on a lighter note. Don't try this, please. And while they were on the date, the lady said, please, can I see your account balance to make sure I am not wasting my time? And then the guy brings out a weighing balance and say, please, can I check your weight to ensure that I'm not wasting my time? Oh my God. And you see that a lot of stereotypes have been broken, right? It's as comfortable as it is to want to know what a man is earning or what he's working, what he's doing. He also wants to know what you're doing, what you're working, what you're earning, right? And these are replaced stereotypes, and that's simply mindset remodeling. And so these things happen every day. So you need to be sure. So you don't take a lady out there and after eating, when they bring the bills, you tell the lady, oh, okay, it's 50-50. Please don't try this, especially in Nigeria, right? It's not safe out there. All right, moving on. I want us to talk about what are the right mindset remodeling we should be looking at. I want to believe we all know what growth and success is. Just a shift from where you used to be to where you should be, right? A better spot, an advancement, an increase, right, in your learning process and the things you are doing. Now, I want to talk about what we call the spirit of I can do, the spirit of I can rather than I can't. This is one of the key mindset remodeling that everybody needs to put in place in 2025, right? I remember when I was an undergraduate, there's this funny statement we used to make. We would say, I cannot come and kill myself and die. And that was a subtle way of being lazy. That was a subtle way of not taking responsibility for certain things. And then there's this one we do with finance or with money. We say, if I perish, I perish. You just go ahead and feed all your cravings and all of those things, right? Yes. But 2025, we need a mindset of I can. Um, just let me drop this. This is not to scare you. This is not to make you feel threatened. But I'm going to be very honest with you. It's not going to get easier living, thriving, or surviving, especially here in Nigeria. Even as 2025 is coming, I told somebody, look at the cost of living 2 years back. Look at how much you needed to earn to have a comfortable life 2 years back. Look at what it is now. It keeps entailing more work, more earning, more input. You need to do more. There is a constant demand of you being able to do more. So in 2025, it's going to be, the remodeling is going to be the I can rather than I can't, right? It's also going to be the spirit of valuable learning. I know in 2024 you could have said, oh, these things challenged me, finances challenged me, my location challenged me, the resources available challenged me, oh, this challenged me and this stopped me. I couldn't do this because of this, I couldn't do this because of this. But in 2025, it is going to be the spirit of valuable learning. For every time you encounter a challenge, oh, I want to do videography, I need a camera. Oh, that's a challenge, I can't afford camera, I have financial constraints. You're going to learn other means, alternative means. Can I use my phone? Can I try some other way? It's going to be valuable learning. It's no longer going to be challenging. It's not going to be challenges or things stopping you. It's going to be, I'm going to learn, I'm going to learn. And that's how you're going to increase, and growth is going to happen to you, and you're going to achieve your success, right? So you're going to view things differently. You're going to tell yourself, I can, and then you're going to see every opportunity as a valuable learning. And please don't stay too long on a spot. That is a mindset remodeling. There's these things that happen unconsciously. You get into a new level in your career, in your skill, you get into a new space, you're thriving, things are working out, it's comfortably, it's averagely doing great, and then you settle in. The moment you settle in, you're sitting there, you're doing your thing. Yes, you're actively working. Yes, you're actively giving. But then you're not stepping up, you're not growing, you're not trying bigger shots, you're not trying bigger challenges, you're not Over time, the danger is that you will fizzle out of relevance. You may no longer be relevant in that field, in that skill, in that stuff. I'll give you a practical example. Many years back, the idea of graphic designing was very basic. But now, with what you do basically those years back, you could barely thrive in that skill set. Now you need a lot of advanced skills. And not just that you need a lot of advanced skills. If there were 50 persons that could do graphic designing in 2010, in 2024, there are 1 million persons already. Now the pool is increasing, and something has to keep you spectacular and relevant. Now, these are the areas of mindset remodeling. So you're going to be saying, oh, I'm going to be growth oriented. I'm going to keep growing and adding stuff. So I'll get to be rounding up. I think I do not have so much time, but I want us to talk about the strategies we're going to use. Right, we're going to talk about the strategies we're going to use, because the essence or the outcome of every learning and sharing process is that you have a take-home strategy, you have a take-home plan on what to do and how to do it to be able to influence the right growth. Now, the strategies we're going to use for our mindset remodeling and our emotional intelligence building is one, a first and most important, interpreting the challenges that you have currently. I want you to take a book, write out all the challenges you had in 2024, and now you're going to interpret them. Now, when you're going to interpret them, you're going to interpret them one column for your challenges, one column for valuable learning. You're going to interpret them not as challenges now, but as valuable learning outcomes. What could I have learned? What could I have done to be able to still achieve my aim despite this limitation? Oh, at my workplace, they spoke to me so badly in 2024. I was so demoralized. I couldn't give in my best. Valuable learning. Did I learn how to coexist with people of different mindset? Did I learn how to be able to thrive amidst, negative speech around? Did I learn how to be able to keep my emotions at bay, irrespective of what is happening? So you're going to take that strategic plan, write out all your challenges from 2024, and then write out learning outcomes. Write out what are the lessons, the ones you learned, the ones you think or you thought you should have learned, right? Not just the ones you learned, but the ones that you may not have learned, but you should learn, that could have made this challenge to be a successful learning outcome for you. And number two, you're going to adopt positive self-talk. Now, what is positive self-talk? I remember, I'll tell a story while I was an undergraduate. I remember one day I had I had an emotional breakdown, and I think what was happening that day, it was my convocation. Yes, I think it was my convocation, and I think I had a financial constraint. I had an emotional breakdown. A lot of things happened. I hadn't seen my degree results. You know how the university life can be. I needed to know, oh, did I have a first class? Did I have a 2-1? A lot was just going on at the time. And that day I lay down in my house. It was almost 10 a.m. I've not even had my bath. This convocation, I said, I'm not going, I'm not celebrating anything. A lot of things are not in place. And then something inspired me, and I stood up and I walked up to my mirror and I began to talk to myself. And I said the most positive things I've said. I said these things don't define you. We're not here to live for what we achieve or what we get. In fact, there was nothing I didn't self-speak to myself that day. And all of a sudden, I found out that a kind of energy booster just happened in all of my systems. And I stood up, dressed up, hit the road, went for that conversation. I took a lot of pictures. I was laughing. I was so excited. done and dusted. Oh, this 4 years of university. Oh, next life, next shot, and all of that. And that was just the power of positive self-talking. I had to talk to myself. Now you're going to start now. This last days of 2024, begin to speak to yourself. Speak to yourself about who you want to be, about who you can be, not who you have been. Instead of saying, oh, I mismanaged funds a lot in 2024, you'd rather say, I will manage funds better 2025. I have the ability, I have the mental strength, I am going to thrive in my space in 2025. I'm going to do better. I'm going to learn this. In fact, one of the things I've learned is that if you're a person of your word, when you say certain things, because you've said them, there is a drive to do them, to leave them out. And that's one of the second strategy you're going to put in place. Now, the third strategy is that you're going to begin to celebrate effort. The reason why we give up, the reason why we call the shot over, even when it's not over, is because we're waiting to celebrate results. See, I think Coach Joshua will relate to this. There was a day I was supposed to go to teach some kids for lesson. I was tired. I felt like, oh, I beg, I shouldn't even go. Nothing will happen. Heaven will not let loose. And we're just talking. In fact, my friends around, they said, just leave it. But then something struck me and I said to myself, your ability to show up even when you don't feel like it, that is the real deal, right? And I just stood up, dressed up, and just stepped out regardless, right? And it's something to celebrate. Celebrate yourself for being able to dress up in the morning and step out. Celebrate yourself for being able to wake up 4 a.m., pick up a book and read. When you celebrate efforts, you begin to make more efforts. And these efforts will accumulate to results at the end of the day. But if you're waiting for results before you can celebrate, one of my favorite female pastor would always say, take a glass of wine, go to the mirror, do cheers, tell yourself you look beautiful, you're smart, you're this, you're that, right? Because some of us can be too self-critical. You're so self-critical that you literally don't even believe that you're doing your best. You literally don't believe that you're trying. You're always judging yourself. Oh, I'm not doing my best. Oh, I'm not doing a lot. Oh, I can do better. Oh, because of this person. This person is doing more. This person. And that's comparison. That's comparison. I'd always say something. The factors you're leveraging on is never 100% same with any man out there. So you should understand that difference and celebrate every effort. So the effort you're going to make starting from the 1st of January 2025, you're going to celebrate them. Tell yourself, pay yourself. Sometimes you did a business, you learned a skill, you took something, you took an initiative, you did something. Reward yourself. Create a reward system for yourself to appreciate yourself for doing this, right? That is one of our strategies. And now, the most important and the final one I'm going to talk about is what I call creating and controlling your environment. Creating and controlling your environment. I know that we are all used to our environment being the things and people around us. But I want to talk about your consumption environment. Now, what are your consumption environment? Your consumption environment has to do with what you hear, what you see, what you listen to. These are like the gateways that you consume words, you consume opinions, you consume thoughts, you consume skills, you consume a lot of things, right? Now, when we talk about creating environment or controlling your environment, like I always tell you, your mindset can be remodeled with or without your consent. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook has algorithms that sometimes you could randomly, unconsciously view a certain kind of content over time. And Facebook algorithm will pull much more of that content to your space on Facebook. Once you come online, you keep seeing things in that area. If you're someone that watches a lot of all of these short Nigerian movies they post on Facebook, Facebook will keep suggesting more and more and more. Before you know it, when you take a critical look at your Facebook space, you find out that your environment has sort of been streamlined to certain things. Now, that is why you're going to be conscious about the pages you follow, the kind of content you watch. You're going to stay on for a particular period of time because you're giving Facebook data to use to assume what you want, what you need, or what you'd rather consume. And so they'll bring it your way. Now, when we talk about creating and controlling your environment, you're going to be intentional about what are my goals in 2025. I want to become a public speaker. I want to become a writer. I want to upgrade my designing skills. Now, a brief statistics on your Facebook profile. What are the pages you liked? Who are the people you're following? What are the contents you've commented on? What are the contents you've given a thumbs up? Like, now, you're going to be intentional about giving your time, your comments, your thumbs up, and all of that to the content that are related to what you are trying to learn or become. That is one way of creating and controlling your virtual environment. Both on WhatsApp, both on, you cannot be viewing every status. Trust me. You can't just go all about every status you're viewing. Because it's just that, let me even tell you something. A friend just told me yesterday or 2 days ago that the same friend that kept posting, oh, don't trust men, oh, don't do this, men, that, has just been married. Question is, you were busy spreading on your WhatsApp status, men this, men that. In fact, I personally know somebody in a very serious and healthy relationship who posted few days ago, we go again 2025, we the single Pringles. How? Now, there's a lot of ingenuity happening on that social space that you cannot just go about viewing and consuming everything. Oh, you might think that, oh, they are just momentary contents, they're not going to stick, but no. They are going to form the data that will store up in your subconscious and begin to shape how you see things and how you respond or react to things. Now, you're going to be intentional about whose status do I view? Who shares the value in the areas of my expected growth? And then you begin to key in to those things. That is another way of, and same, you do that with your IG, with your Twitter, and all of your social media spaces. In fact, you could swap your WhatsApp time for YouTube. Yes, that's an absolute amazing thing to do. Swap your WhatsApp time for YouTube. Thank me later. You're welcome. You would learn a lot. A lot will change differently. Perspectives you change. Your mental view of things will change, right? You can also swap your IG time to LinkedIn. That could also be a very great and positive move. Now you're going to swap certain social media for certain. Oh, all of those times you spend on WhatsApp, viewing status. Some of us can just view memes for like the whole year. You're viewing memes and you're laughing and you're laughing. As healthy as that could be to your emotions, sometimes it could also consume a great and ample time of your learning. So, and you're also going to be intentional about your physical environment, the places where you are. The fact that you're living in the trenches does not mean you should be doing the things of the trenches. The fact that your environment is ghetto does not mean you should eat like a ghetto. Now, this is not to shame anybody or not to say, if everybody in your environment is eating rice with their hands or with their palms, it simply doesn't mean you must. Maybe when you're in public space for the purpose of acceptance, but you should train yourself to use cutleries. That is an idea of where you're going to, where you're headed, or where you want to see yourself. You live by it. You don't live by where you physically are. You live by where you mentally want to be, right? Dress up well. Smell nice. Not say because you live in an environment where everyone is dirty, everyone is doing, then you should just dress like that, you should just be like that. No. dress nice, because the adverse effect is that when life gives you that opportunity to move to a better and greater space, you carry those your ghetto lifestyles and move on, and then you find out that you become a ghettoed person in the midst of a whole different breed of persons, right? So you're going to be intentional about your physical environment, how you eat, how you talk, how you speak, how you dress, how you smell, how you arrange your house, your cleanliness, your detailedness, how you behave in public, etc. Right? And finally, you're going to control your social environment, right? Who do you talk to? Who do you go about gisting with, having banters with? Please, if you must banter, banter with great minds. Don't go about bantering with foolish, okay, let me not say that, but people who have foolish perspectives of things. This year, don't go about chatting with people who all they have to say is men are scum. Oh, men are this. Oh, you see, people that speak ill, those are the set of people you should avoid this year. They're not going to actually give you a positive energy. Who do you call and talk the most on phone with? Who who is that one person that when you call them, you feel inspired, you feel driven, you feel motivated, they contribute to your ideas, to your goals? That's the social environment you need in 2025. See, everybody would be all right with or without you. Trust me on that. That's a very hard truth. Your friends and families, everybody, your colleagues, everybody's going to be all right. The friends you had 10 years ago may not be the friends you have today, but everybody is all right at their spaces. And it's how sometimes we think that we may not be able to live with without certain people, or we can't be able to be disentangled from certain people. But trust me, I'm not trying to negative speak, but if anything happens to you, we would all mourn you for a few days and life will move on. We will eat. Yes, we'll go shopping. We'll take pictures and we'll have fun. So it's high time you prioritize your social environment, whether at work, at church, everywhere. Who should you be talking? There are people in life, all you should do is greet them and pass. I was listening to a content about oversharing. There are certain conversations you get into, even you know you are oversharing, but just because you want to sustain the conversation, you keep talking. And just like they say, information is power. You give out a lot of power out. You just keep throwing things, information, details out there, right? Simply because you're trying to converse. So this year, you're going to be intentional and streamline your your social environment. And finally, in conclusion, I'd love to say this. So I wrote this down on my notes and I want to read it to you, and I want you to take note of this. It says that optimal growth and success is facilitated by learning. Optimal growth and success is facilitated by learning. In other words, learning means knowing better. Knowing better. Know how to eat better in 2025. Know how to walk better. Know how to dress better. Know how to do everything better than you've done in 2024. And this generally depends on your environment. This all depends on your what? Environment. Sometimes your environment can limit how
Seems like we had a little glitch. We're not hearing you, but you can continue, I believe. We'll get now.
okay.
We
Can you
hear you
hear
now.
me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to say that the best environment isn't where only you thrives, but where everyone thrives. People around you should be able to have healthy conversations when they're around you, thrive when they're around you, do better, know better when they meet you, when they come in contact with you. That is the right environment. So I want to believe there's a lot of things I'd love to share, but for time's sake, I think we would cut it from here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I want to believe somebody has learned something. I had a lot of jokes to share with you, but because of time, would leave that for future times. Thank you very much.